This was really nice. I mean, it was a swell breakfast, really. I don't know when I've ever had a nicer breakfast.
Thank you. I enjoyed it too.
And you don't hate me or anything?
No. No, of course I don't. Have a good day.
Okay then. So long.
You guys are no longer settling just for obligation in your love life, okay? You're not settling for a person that's just choosing to stay with you just for obligation. You're seeing that becomes a codependent relationship. It becomes a very overindulgent type of connection, okay? You guys can see the security that comes in the relationship, but over time, that security you're seeing that is not really grounded in anything, okay? You see that it's very temporal. And definitely looking at your past relationship, you're undressing the salad in that perspective here, and you're looking to see, okay, why was this connection so stagnated? Why was this not a growing type of partnership? No one was able to use their voice in the situation. You got Iro the parrot here. No one was able to connect on a deeper level to say, hey, you know what? We're going through some challenges. We're going through some difficulties in our connection. Let's go about the proper steps. Let's go about going to counseling. Let's go about going to therapy. And you're realizing that, when you're in this obligation, okay, no one grows. No one grows. No one's able to look and see, okay, you know what? This is no longer serving me. This is no longer going to be a healthy type of stance when it comes down to my relationships. You guys are no longer putting yourself in a place where someone's not able to grow with you in a connection. Someone's not able to be there emotionally and connect with you. Okay. What you're seeing though, especially with this Arbor the Parrot here, a lot of times when you see masculine energy and it shuts down, okay, and they go into this place of obligation, you can't have that same type of factor in a loving relationship, okay? A lot of times, like I said, masculine energy has to really realize, okay, I need to have my emotional energy connected to a relationship. And you guys are seeing that, with that type of energy when you're dating someone and they have that type of, component in them where they're just looking at things from a very more so an analytical perspective. They're not tying in their emotions in the situation. It becomes kind of toxic, and you're able to call it out. Okay, you got the gotcha card here. Okay, you're no longer hiding yourself in luxury. You're no longer hiding yourself in wealth. Your emotional security. You're looking at it from like a deeper lens, where it's like, okay, are we actually growing in this partnership? Are we really being standing with each other when it comes down to our development? Because we're just used to the familiar. Okay, and you guys are really looking at future connections, or you could be looking at your connection right now where you're analyzing, saying, hey, you know what, if we're not able to really get the help that we need, or we're not able to really communicate with each other on a in-depth perspective, this is not going to last long. This is not going to be a engaging type of partnership, because we're not growing together, okay, as a couple. What we're doing is like, just basically, like I said, staying in a same type of pattern, staying in the same type of rut with each other. And you guys are just really seeing how, of course, like looking at your own wounds too as well when it comes down to interactions where you're like, you know what, I can't just settle for, just a surface type of connection, okay? You're realizing that the emotions that are really in the relationship is not really present, okay? You sort of settled for, okay, well, you know what? Okay, I settle for this. I settle for what they bring to the table. But it takes more than just that to make a successful partnership. Okay, you guys are really unpacking your old viewpoints of your past relationships and really tying in a new type of perspective where it's like, okay, yeah, you know what? I want to have security. Okay, I want to have the emotional security. I want to have the security together. But with understanding each other, we have to have a security with understanding our love languages. Okay, Over the period here, having that, stable communication with understanding how we go about, a connection successfully, and being really tapped in to, having that proper communication with, exploring, okay, what are the triggers in the relationship? Okay, how do we avoid, not being on a, detrimental place when it comes down to our communication pattern? Okay, you guys are stepping out of your comfort zone and really revealing, okay, what are the necessary changes that I need to bring in? Also, like I said, with my partner, what do they need to bring into the situation so we can have a healthy type of partnership? Okay. And it's a good type of place, guys, because with that type of understanding, you're able to navigate any pitfalls that you have in that relationship. When you're just really looking at things from just a materialistic level, okay, or just from a level as far as like your needs being taken care of, but not really looking to grow within the partnership, the love becomes very draining the situation. Okay, you're realizing that you're throwing the cup of love out as time goes forward. You're not really hearing each other and not really understanding each other as well. Okay, and you guys are no longer being in this place where you're looking at it from just like your own perspective, or just like you with you and this other partner here, or like I said, it could just be you reflecting being single now, where you're like, you know what, my next partnership, I can't put myself in this space where I'm just sort of like, in it for my own means. I need to really be present emotionally and be there supportive when it comes down to understanding who I'm with, okay? And like I said, nothing's wrong with having that security, and nothing's wrong with having that, that stance as far as like being in a partnership where you're able to grow together. You're looking to, create a successful type of, empire with your partner. But before you have that, before you get to the finances, you have to have your emotions in check. You have to have your emotions in check. You have to have an emotional understanding of your partner as well too. You have to have that type of understanding really to navigate effectively, because without having that proper type of emotional connection, things can get lost in the situation. Okay, let's go into your tarot deck here just to pull some further messages. So we got the Tower card here. Right, let's see here. We got the Knight of Cups in reverse. Got the Lover's card. Ace of Wands in reverse. Let's see. Page of Swords. Wheel of Fortune. Let's see. Seven of Cups in reverse. And one more card for you guys. The Empress. All right. Let's get started. This is a necessary tower moment for you guys. It's a necessary tower moment because you're really peeling back the veil. Okay, you're peeling back, what needs to change to be in an effective growth process. Okay, like I said, if you guys are single, you're just really looking to say, okay, you know what, how I went about my past relationship, my past standards have just risen dramatically as time went on. Okay, like I said, this could have been in a situation where this harvest type energy, this could have been happiness for you guys. It could have been like, okay, as long as I'm getting my material needs being met, or I'm in this emotional comfort place, okay, you are fine. But you're realizing now that that doesn't really have you in this happy perspective without really having a deeper understanding of your partner in the situation, because you're realizing that sometimes, like I said, in your past connections, it could have been like a disconnect. You could have saw emotional distance creeping into your relationship, and you're realizing that without having that emotional understanding of your partner to understand, okay, how do we connect with each other with our love languages, it turns into a tower moment. Okay, you guys are having that wake up call to realize, okay, you know what, I can't just have an investment where, like I said, the emotional needs are not being filled in the situation. You got the Nine of Cups and the Knight of Cups in reverse here. Okay, you're realizing that without any emotions in my connection, okay, nothing can really grow into this lover's perspective. Okay, things get stuck along the way. Okay, you're realizing that with having a healthy type of mindset when it comes down to your overall partnership, that has to have that emotional connection so it can turn into this everlasting type of love perspective where you're able to grow with each other, and you're able to sort of be in a partnership. And even if you split ways, you're able to say, okay, something, our connection was healthy. Okay, it was not one-sided. Okay, I wasn't having my needs being met. It was not a situation where we didn't understand each other on an emotional type of level. So like you guys are going into new connections where it's just like you're not looking just at the 3D perspective. Okay, you're not putting any passion into situations that no longer have any type of weight to it. Okay, you got the Ace of Wands in reverse here. Okay, you're learning to curb your passion and really look at things from a deeper level and to emotionally understand what you're getting into, and you're putting up more so some boundaries in place, okay, where you're able to really have that communication, and you're realizing if someone's not able to, communicate with you and really to have a deeper understanding as far as like, having a deeper connection with you, okay, you're cutting it out, okay, you got the Page of Swords. You're realizing you're undressing the salad in your dating life where you're realizing for yourself that, just going along with the flow and not really having like, strong communication with your partner, really seeing how they think and how they tick, okay, that's essential. Okay, undressing the salad, that's really undressing the person to really see how's their mindset. How's their mindset when it comes down to, forming a partnership? How's their mindset when it comes down to expressing love in the situation? Okay, and you're not really hearing that they're, emotionally present. Guess what? You're cutting it out. You're cutting it out because you're realizing for yourself that the wheel of fortune has to be in place when it comes down to like, expanding into the positive direction. And to get that wheel of fortune for yourself, it has to be a place where you're looking deeper beyond just this surface type of connection. Okay, you're gonna get the wheel of fortune. You're gonna get the happy life, happy relationship once you sort of cut back, past energies as far as like how you went about, past connections or past type of interactions that you connected with that didn't really lead to anything, and you were trying to figure out, okay, what's the major component that didn't really grow this partnership? Okay, you're looking at, while you're going out here, meeting new people, or you could be cultivating a relationship right now. You're looking at to see, okay, is this really worth my time? Okay, Seven of Cups in reverse. You're not putting in your energy if you're not seeing that it's a progression when it comes down to the, it's a progression when it comes down to the connection at hand. Okay, you're the Empress in the situation. Okay, you're the Empress in the situation. You're able to have that emotional intelligence. Okay, you're able to bring in that stability. Like I said, Empress energy is all about, it could be male or female. It's just energy here. You have a deeper understanding as far as, like I said, your needs and situations. Okay, and with that deeper understanding, you're not coming in there like a novice. You're not coming in there just from this 3D perspective when it comes down to getting your needs met. You're bringing in, even from, like I said, your past pain or your past, unsuccessful relationships. You're bringing in that level of intelligence. You're bringing in that level of wisdom to know what you're going to bring to the table and what you're going to settle for as well. Okay, and you guys are not just settling just from, like I said, those minor needs that are just, of course, more so commonplace. Like I said, when it comes down to like, seeing stability in a relationship, that's something that you expect to see when you're in a partnership. Okay, it goes beyond just the temporal 3D type of mindset when it comes down to connecting with your partner. Okay, and you guys are bringing in that emotional intelligence and this Empress type of stance. Okay, like I said, male or female here, to have that deeper understanding as far as where you're going to go in your partnership. Okay, let's see here. We're going to pull from the love and happiness deck here, and then after that we're going to end with the let's see, I'm going to end here with the what's the hard truth as well. So we're going to pull for the love and happiness first. Let's see. Oh, card want to run away from me. You got anxiety. You got love. You got naive. We got desperate. Let's see. We got needy in reverse. Okay. And let's see here. We have good news. All right. One more card. Let's see, move on. All right. So you guys are no longer putting yourself in this anxiety perspective here. Okay, you're no longer having your emotions run wild when it comes down to connections. You're looking for something that's going to bring in that emotional connection that you need. You're going to have that wheel of fortune moment, okay? Because you're realizing that, okay, you know what? I can develop a loving partnership without having myself in this anxious type of attachment here. Okay, because a lot of times, like I said, especially with dealing with masculine energy in a relationship, sometimes it can shut down and get into this, like, I'm being in this obligation type of seat. Okay, and you guys were saying like, well, this person's in it. They may be a little bit emotionally cold in a situation, but they're still in here, providing in the relationship. They're still, being present. But when you see someone check out, okay, in the relationship, that brings about that anxiety factor. And the main reason why that person is checking out, because they're no longer looking at the investment from a loving perspective. It's like, okay, well, you're gonna get me to my next goal in life, okay. Your connections, your personality, they're looking at you as far as, like, from what serves the greatest good for my life, okay. And masculine energy can really shut down emotionally, and once that happens, you guys have to really sort of, like I said, have that mindset to say, okay, I probably need to remove myself from this connection, because this person's not looking at me to really develop and cultivate on a loving type of perspective. Like I said, they shut down from communication. Like I said, going back to this Albert the parrot here, they shut down communication, so they're just sort of there on, on the physical type of level, and there's no love here. So I need to sort of look at the whole situation from a different type of lens, okay? When you have masculine energy that shuts down emotionally, okay, they're looking at you as far as, how can this person keep me going afloat? How can they sort of get me to that next level? It becomes very much so tit for tat type of energy, okay? The emotions in the situation could get very skewed, and you guys are no longer being naive that, when someone's in this connection like that, that's very selfish, okay? You guys are no longer looking at it from, like, okay, this person has this quiet type of strength. You're looking at it from, like, okay, well, if they're not feeding into the connection, then we're not going about, developing a healthy understanding for each other, okay? I can't just put myself in a box and think that's healthy, okay? Just because, like I said, you guys are you're breaking away from this anxious attachment here. You're understanding yourself on a deeper level emotionally. You're like, you know what? I'm no longer going to be naive to this, because, this puts me in a very desperate situation where I'm clinging on to somebody, and they're not looking to really cultivate things in a proper type of way. And they're seeing, when you have somebody that's like around and they shut down emotionally, and they see that you're still, trying to figure out what's going on, or you're putting in all this energy, okay, that puts them in a seat where it's like, okay, well, you know what, I had them spinning, okay, I'm going to keep them spinning in this type of, like, this needless type of circle that I have going on in their life here, but they had no type of emotional type of empathy for you in a situation, because it's like, hey, my needs are being met. Hey, if they're giving me more attention from their anxiety type of space, okay, hey, that's cool with me. I can still keep doing what I want to do. And you guys are like, okay, I'm not going to approach my type of relationship in this desperate type of mindset, because this is not healthy for me, okay? You're realizing that needy behavior does not belong in your relationships, okay? It has to be interdependent for it to be successful, and you're realizing that it has to be an equal give and take when it comes down to, like, really understanding the partnership and really helping the partnership to grow. It can't just be you growing the partnership by yourself and just allowing that other person to sort of sit back and just sort of reap the benefits, okay? And the good news is that you're learning the lesson, okay? You're learning the lesson of moving on from situations that no longer serve you. You're learning a lesson where someone is like, coming in with that toxic masculinity and their energy. You're no longer having them, get away with a lot of, like, bad type of behaviors. You're realizing that they could sort of, like, say all the right things, like, oh, well, we're fine. Oh, we don't need any type of, like, healing or any type of therapy or any type of counseling. You're realizing, okay, I need to move on from someone if they're not bringing in a perspective where it's like, okay, if we're in a rut in our relationship, we have to go about the healing process in a healthy way. If they shut down the communication and they're not able to really expand with you guys in a proper type of direction, like I said, with this Arbor the Parrot here, they're not able to really, like, give you that type of understanding where it's like, okay, we need to go about, getting the proper help and getting the proper understanding for each other. Okay, we need to go in a positive direction to explore that, to see, who's able to effectively help us in this, partnership. Guess what? If they're not doing that, you got them. That's a gotcha card, okay? You're realizing that, okay, but someone's not really putting in that emotional effort, I got to move on. You got to move on, okay? And let's see, we're going to close it out here with our Higher Truth deck. What do you need to know right now? Oh, let's see here. So we got bottled up. Let's see, holding things in strengthens their grip on you. Express and release diminish their power and foster true healing, okay? You guys are no longer bottling up your emotions in the situation. That only puts you in this anxiety type of factor, okay? When someone is not, effectively communicating with you in a proper way in your relationship, they're holding back, okay? You're realizing that you're in a toxic relationship that's not really growing, okay? It's just like you're there just because of the obligation. You're no longer settling, okay? You need more than just the financial stability in a relationship. Okay, you need the emotional support. Okay, you're no longer bottling your emotions up in the situation. You're looking at it from a deeper lens where you're like, okay, you know what? I need to go about this in a growing type of mindset. I need to go about this as far as like, having someone that's actively in this partnership with me. And I'm not gonna settle for less. Okay. All right, guys, this is your reading for October. Looking forward to talking to you soon. If you like this reading, please like, share, subscribe for me. Thank you so much.
Who am I? I'm the greatest. Who am I? I'm getting paid. Who am I? I'm so flagrant. Who am I? I'm the greatest. Who am I? I'm getting paid. Who am I? I'm so flagrant.